What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Wolfscott is less than 2 weeks away. Kicks off on Wednesday, 26th of July. First couple of days just kind of low-key in the evenings, Wednesday evening, Thursday evening. Things really kick off on the Friday. So got about 2 weeks to get this thing running and driving. Last episode you will have seen I got the wheels and tires mounted. They are not currently on the car because I'm still waiting for the lug bolts to arrive, and I've got to do all the brakes and replace a wheel bearing today. But let's take a look at the list so far. So checked a bunch of stuff off. Shift linkage done, suspension bushings done, the exhaust I got done, the fueling done, wheels and tires done, axles done. So just really 2 or 3 big things I need to do to get this thing ready and I can fire it up. Like I said, this episode we are going to get on with the brakes, replacing the master cylinder, and also got to replace the wheel bearing on the right front because that's got a little bit of play in it. So I want to swap that out while I'm in there. So I have 280mm vented brake discs or rotors. They are from Centric. I have a 22mm master cylinder that replaces the stock one. That's from Tech-53, and that is designed to be used with the stock 7-inch booster. Take a look on that website. It does depend what size booster you have as to which master cylinder you can use. That's the one for me. I got some stainless brake lines back there. I got some G60 calipers and carriers. These are not genuine. I've got an adapter kit to mount the caliper carriers to the hubs, and I have some Centric brake pads. And so let me show you this real quick. This is the stock Mark 1 brake master cylinder with the 7-inch booster. When you upgrade the brakes, the stock master cylinder, I think it's a 19mm master cylinder. It's basically too small to push the amount of fluid that those bigger calipers need. So got to swap that out. Gonna disconnect all the brake lines, take the reservoir off, and fingers crossed that booster is good. So you can see that was pretty straightforward. Just removed the brake reservoir, disconnected the brake lines, and took the 2 13mm nuts off the booster. And the master cylinder slid right out. Just got some rags in there to soak up the brake fluid that dripped out. And then I have the old master cylinder here in the vise. I just need to pull out the brake switches and swap them over to the new one. And there we have it, the 22mm brake master cylinder from Tech-53, designed to work with the 7-inch booster. Pretty straightforward install. Just disconnect the brake lines, disconnect the brake pressure switches, remove the reservoir, swap it all over. So I've said it once before and I'll say it again, it's really nice working on a car from California. No rusted bolts, nothing seized, everything comes apart nice and easily, goes back together nicely too. I just need to clean up the old reservoir, reinstall that too. And yeah, calling this good. Let's move on to the brakes. So these are the crusty old brakes. Let's get these things off and get the new ones on. So this took a little bit of figuring out to get it all right. So for anyone following along at home that's interested in how these go together, the adapter right here has to come in from the front side, so you have to remove the dust shield. Then you want it with the bolts for the caliper on the top. You then put the caliper carrier on with the spacer in between the caliper carrier and the adapter, and then the caliper goes on like normal. I just put these in without the brake rotor so you guys can see how it goes in, because I couldn't really find much information about this online. So hopefully this helps somebody out. You may have to grind the caliper carrier or the back of the hub just a little bit. You can see that's not snugged up yet, but it is touching further down there, so I may just have to make some clearance, but I think that's how they go together. Okay, there we have it, guys. G60 calipers, carriers, discs on the MK1 Rabbit with the VR6 swap. Just need to connect the braided line into the brake hose, and you'll see in the video I had to do a little bit of grinding just to make some clearances. Nothing too major, just 1 or 2 millimeters of clearance. And I did put some thread locker on all of the threads, so it shouldn't vibrate loose. Yeah, there we go. So I just went to test fit a wheel. Go check out that latest episode if you haven't already. I just dropped it like 5 minutes ago, but I went to test fit a wheel after I put the brakes on. Guess what? They don't quite fit. I'm gonna need to run a spacer to hit the caliper. I think I need about a 3 millimeter spacer. Let me show you how I worked that out. So I just took an M12 by 1.5 bolt and cut the head off. Did that on a couple of them to use some studs so I can hang the wheel, and then just stack some spacers using washers like this to space the wheel away from the hub, just so I could figure out the right clearance right here on the caliper. So end up needing about a 3 millimeter spacer, so I've got those on order, and yeah, hopefully they come in time, we can get the wheels on, but they don't quite fit with these calipers. So let's move on to the passenger side. This side's gonna be a little bit more involved because I need to replace the hub. So I've gotta disconnect the tie rod for the steering, the lower ball joint under here, as well as remove all the brakes. So let's get into that. The new hub should be out for delivery today, so hopefully FedEx or UPS shows up and we can get this done today. I spoke too soon, I just checked the shipping. It will be here until tomorrow. Big womp womp. Well, there you have it, guys. Let's take a look. So, lower ball joint disconnected, tire end disconnected from the strut, axle out. Kind of sucks, they only put that in 2 episodes ago, but luckily it's just the one big nut on the outside, and it comes out without having to take the inners out. So yeah, fortunately not much more I can do until the new spindle shows up, which should be here tomorrow. Gonna do some tidying up, and I will check in with you then. Okay guys, let's give you another update. It's been a couple of days since I've worked on the Rabbit. As you can see outside, it's raining again up here in Vermont. We've had a pretty tough week for the weather if you've been following along with the news. Something crazy like 7 inches of rain last week. We got some pretty bad thunderstorms a couple of days ago, and supposed to get a lot more rain today. So luckily I'm okay with fair and okay here at my house, but a lot of places in Vermont suffered some very severe flooding, more rain and more flooding since Hurricane Irene a few years ago. So thoughts go out to those guys. Hope everybody out there is staying safe. But let's crack on with the Cali MK1 project today. So looks like I'm in a worse position than I was a couple of days ago. We left off, I was waiting for that wheel hub to arrive. So that finally arrived here in the box, so I can get that on today. But while I was waiting for that, I was just checking over the rest of the braking system, and I found that on the right rear, the bleed nipple had been snapped off. So there was no way for me to bleed that right rear brake drum. So I started digging into it. As you can see, I took the drum off. I've got the shoes disconnected, and this right here, this is called a rear wheel cylinder, and basically the brake line connects in here, and when you push your foot on the brake pedal, the fluid pushes these 2 cylinders out, which pushes the drum, the shoes out into the drum. And this threaded hole in the middle, that's where the valve screws in. It was snapped off though. I tried to drill it out, retap it, but it's too far gone. I couldn't get it. So had to order one of those. I actually ordered 2 just in case the other side goes bad as well. Luckily they're only like $8 each. And it's once I've taken this side off, if I have to do it again on the other side, it should be pretty easy. So let's set the camera up. Let's get a time lapse going again. Let's get the front hub on and those new G60 brakes on the front right. And there we have it, new hub, new wheel bearing, brake rotor, caliper, pads, and stainless lines. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. Not quite finished the brakes, still need to wait for that rear wheel cylinder. That's gonna be here in a couple of days, so when that gets here, I can install that and bleed the brakes, but I'm gonna call this episode good. I need to get it edited and out to you guys. So as always, thanks for watching. Give me a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.